Welcome to Western CPE Marketing's Basecamp project folder. I'm going to show you in a few of these videos a couple of little shortcuts, ways to get around so that you can stay on top of what marketing is doing for your division. And if you have deadlines, you can take a look. If you want to see where we're at, you can have access. So the first thing I want to show you are the tabs at the top. Once you log into Basecamp, which I will remind you, it's like any other piece of software, and that I would write your username and your password down once you set it up. If you lose that information, unfortunately, marketing's not able to retrieve it for you, so we'll just have to delete your account and start over. So anyway, once you get signed in, you're going to default right to the Projects tab, and the Projects tab is exactly what it sounds like. It has all of the projects. So you can see there's a lot of projects. These are all organized also, as you can see, according to the division that the time spent on the project is billed to. So you see webcast, you see tax. There are a few projects here that are not billed to any of these divisions and they're separate. But for the most part, that's how everything is organized. So if you want to find a project, it's listed in this tab, this version. It's listed alphabetically according to the division which it's billed to. There are three ways you can look at your projects tab. You can look at it A to Z like this, with each of these being a link. You can look at it as tiles, and these are alphabetical as well. And then the third way, before I show you the third way, you'll notice there's a star at the top right corner of each tile. Sorry about that. If you click on the star, what you've done is you've selected one of the projects as your favorite, and what that does, if you go back to the project tile with the list, you can see the ones that are starred. But then there's a third way you can view projects, and that's that your favorite projects are tiled and the rest are all on a list. The benefit of the tile is that you can see the icons of all the people who are working on the project, which is nice because you can see who your team is on any given. Of course, there are some people who still haven't put a picture in, but once you do, it's really nice to be able to see who you're working with. Okay, so that's the project tab. That's how you can navigate to projects. The second tab is the calendar tab, and there are a couple of ways you can view. Obviously, you can view as many projects as you want on the calendar, and what it shows you are all the to-do lists and all of the events that are associated with each of these projects. So you'll see that a couple events last multiple days, and so that's how they show up. And to-dos show up with the ability to check them off. If you roll your mouse over the item, it'll show you a preview of what the project is. Occasionally to-dos, won't have the title, so you can roll over and see that the proof is actually for a 60-day resort email. If you click on it, it will give you a little more information and give you some options there. So it's kind of nice. You have the option of viewing all the projects that you're associated with, or you can only view a certain amount. Sometimes this gets overwhelming. You can also create your own calendar if you want to keep track of anything personally, and you have the option of sharing that calendar with anybody else in Basecamp as you see fit. You can, however, just show one project. Again, a lot of these deadlines can get very overwhelming when you look at them all together. You can view each of these schedule pages by the month, and it will keep your default wherever you land. There's also a tab to hide the calendar list, and that'll just show you. These print really, really well. If you're a person who likes to keep a hard copy, this prints very easily. So you just hit print and it'll show up really nicely. Okay, the third tab is daily progress, and this is exactly what it sounds like. This is a more intuitive, more sort of Web 2.0 way of laying out different events, things that have happened on all of the projects that you have access to. So very few people have access to every single marketing project, but this is the tab that shows you everything that's happened with the projects you're working on, and it's all in chronological order. So you see that For a project called Resorts Non-Rotation Emails, Sarah completed a to-do called Copy Edits Due at 11:40. And 1 minute later, for a different project, Rebecca made a comment on a proof. So this will take you, as far back in time as you'd like to go. But it's a really great tool for just seeing what's been happening on your projects. And now these two tabs are separated. They're a little bit different. These three tabs all deal with the projects, and these deal with the people who are working on the projects. So you'll notice actually an email just came up here, and this Basecamp updates in real time. So even though I haven't navigated away from this page, a new event happened, something else was accomplished, and it showed up on the daily progress. So anyway, these two tabs are about the people who work in Basecamp. And the first tab is not a tab you'll need very often. It shows who's been active, it shows who is in what company, etc. And I use that, Sarah uses that. I doubt anybody else really does. The tab that's really important at the top for you is the Me tab, because that aggregates all the information that's relevant to you. Everything, all the activity that's happened that you've accomplished throughout the projects. And if you click any of these, you can open it and go straight to whatever it is you did, or go to a bigger list. Your open to-dos, that is a very, very important tab. Right now it's just showing any of the to-dos that I have. But if I select this tab, I can view all the to-dos that are due for me next week, all the to-dos that are beyond next week. If I had any to-dos that were past due, those would show up in a past due button, and also if I had any other things to do for this week, it would show up. Since I'm ahead of the game, unfortunately I can't show you those because I've done all my to-dos. Bam! Okay, anyway, I'm certain that was funnier to me. Okay, so this is a list of your completed to-dos if you want to go back in time and see what you've done. And it also shows all the files that you've uploaded. So these, my advice would be when you open Basecamp to go, it's going to automatically default to the project tab. Unless there's something specific you're looking for, I would go to the Me tab and just see where your projects are at, see where you're at, and that way you can make sure you're on top of whatever it is you need to do. If you haven't uploaded your photo, you can click on update your info and then choose a file just like any other site and throw your photo in there. It's just really, really helpful. So anytime you want to go right back to the front, just click on the link or click on your Launchpad. Alright, that is the basics of the Basecamp tabs and what they all do. I hope it was helpful.